and welcome viewers. I am Pia and you are watching NewsX. We are tracking some crucial details as far as the Air India 171 crash is concerned. Details have emerged about the tragic plane crash that claimed 275 lives. We are now learning that there was no fault within the aircraft, but rather the fuel switch is suspected to have been off. This comes after the preliminary investigation into the matter is taking place. As many await the reason behind the deadly crash, the reports on the initial investigation are likely to be released today. The case is being investigated by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, and according to the requirements, the report is to be uploaded within 30 days of the accident which took place last month. My colleague Anand Singh with us on the broadcast. Anand, the time frame is 30 days. It's been a month since the tragic, ill-fated crash had taken place. We're likely to get the report today is what we're learning. What can we expect? AAIB likely to release this report?
Yeah, Pia, look, it's been a month now after the tragic air crash in Gujarat's Ahmedabad, when more than 270 people had died after the Air India London-bound AI-171 Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner had just crashed 35 seconds after taking off from Patel International Airport. So clearly, the Aircraft's Accident Investigation Bureau, which is probing the reason for the crash, will be submitting its preliminary report with the Ministry of Civil Aviation today. And even as the AAIB was able to download all the data of the two black boxes that were recovered on from the crash site and brought to Delhi on June 24 and 25. So clearly a lot of details have emerged from that. However, the sources have remained tight-lipped in the ministry that what led to such a catastrophe in Gujarat's Ahmedabad, where it crashed on a BJ Medical Hostel building just 2 kilometers away from the airport. So clearly a lot of things are being deliberated as the investigators have analyzed the flight recorder data from the black boxes, and they are investigating that what led to such an air disaster, whether it was the mechanical failure or technical issues that the aircraft faced, or whether it was some electrical failure. And now what we have learned from our sources is that the main concern is over the two of the switches for the fuel supply, whether it was cut off or whether it was on. So clearly these are the things that the AIB is looking to determine, that what was the reason for such a crash in Gujarat's Ahmedabad. However, most of the AIB officials have remained tight-lipped and they have not revealed any details, and these are the details only that AIB will be sharing with the Ministry of Civil Aviation, that whether it was dual engine failure as the plane was unable to gain thrust and it was unable to climb at from the airport, as the aircraft has just flown 650 feet and then crashed on a BJ Medical Hostel, where more than 241 people on board, barring one person, had died, and many others on the ground were also killed in that tragic air crash. So clearly all the scenarios are being considered by the AIB investigators, and they are trying to learn that what led to such an disastrous air crash in India's aviation history. So all these answers will be given by the AIB, which will be submitting its preliminary report today, later in the day. So clearly most of the answers will be given. However, the final detailed report will be released after an year, after going through all the analysis of the flight data recorder data that have been downloaded by the AIB, as we have learned from the sources that the two of the black boxes which were recovered from the crash site have not been damaged, and it was reason why the AIB and the investigators at the DGCA, they were able to download all the data of the aircraft in time. Back to you, Pia.
Indeed, Anand, just one quick follow-up. The report that is going to come out, is it going to be a short, crisp preliminary one, or will they release a detailed report as of now?
13 days, it's only the preliminary report that will be submitted, and it will only ascertain some of the causes. However, the detailed analysis will take over an year, because for that the debris of the plane and the data all needs to be matched by the investigators, in which the GE, the company which has manufactured the two of the engines of this Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, that will be also, even the Boeing will be also part of the probe. So clearly Air India has been cooperating with all the investigators, and a detailed report, the final report, will come after an year. But today only the preliminary report will be submitted, which will try to find out the main reasons, and then a detailed analysis will be done on all those reasons, and they will be then bringing out several safety protocols which will be shared with Air India and also with the Boeing, so that if there is any glitch from the manufacturer's side, then it can be fixed in time, so that there are over 1100 Boeing 787 Dreamliners that are currently operating across the globe. So clearly this data will help the Boeing also to ascertain that what led to such a disaster, and Boeing also is facing a lot of scrutiny. Earlier we have seen that how Boeing 737 had to be grounded across the globe, and now this was the first air crash that involved
the
Boeing 787 Dreamliner.
Indeed, Anand, thank you so much for joining us this morning, sharing all those details. We also have with us Mr. Surjit Panesar. He's a senior aviation expert. Sir, good morning, and thank you for speaking to NewsX. Some details are coming in as far as the Air India 171 crash is concerned. The fuel switches are suspected to have been switched off. Now, for the benefit of our viewers, could you explain to us where exactly are these fuel control switches located? When are they used? When are they on their run mode and their cut-off mode? And what is the importance of this particular switch?
Ma'am, it is very difficult to, I have not flown 787, but I know in all aircraft, the fuel switches are with a little lock, you have to lift it and then put it off. But as per the Boeing circular, they say in case of flame out, you can put it off and then put it on again. Now, all this, what has happened, we don't know. Only after the digital flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder, you will be able to come out, give what action the pilots have taken. And then only we can comment on it, whether it was wrong or right. At this juncture, to preempt, because the committee is keeping all these things secret. The Gongot operation is not coming out to the public what has happened. They are not showing any document. They are not telling us what the DFDR, CVR says. No, without knowing all these things, it is not possible to preempt the conditions. Whether did he put the fuel lever off and on or again in that such a short time is very difficult to comment right now. But we have to wait for the inquiry by these inexperienced investigators from the Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Bureau of Civil Aviation Security, who have never seen an aircraft investigation, and they are going to give judgments about the investigation of this accident. We have to only wait for their statement when they come out. Then only we will give the exact statement, and our experience will tell you whether pilot's mistake, engineering mistake. But at the moment, the chairman, chief operating officer, and the head of the engineering department should be held responsible for all these things to explain. You should ask these people to tell us what has happened, because they are responsible for this incident and all.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for taking our time.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.